You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, J.D. Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplette, and Chris McFeely.
Welcome to Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD, going crazy, knocking out my host here. Chris McFeely, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplette's out this week. So we're here. We're doing the show.
You know what that reminded me of? You know, remember those Maxwell commercials in the late 80s where it was so loud that the guy was starting to be put... That's kind of like what it was in the intro.
Okay.
Whoa, if it's too loud, you're too old. Remember
wow. Nice.
I'm old, so shut it.
So yeah, by the way, so right off the bat here, I caught the Avengers Arena trade, and holy crap, you should read that. I'm just going to say that.
Like, if you're still not on board with the series because it's killing all of Marvel's young heroes, you probably shouldn't read it because, yeah, it is. And that is actually still an active problem with the premise. And it annoys me that I did wind up enjoying the series as much as I did. I don't actively want to support the killing of the Runaways. And of the three characters that have died so far up to this week's issue, two of them were like my two favorite characters.
So wait a minute though. So does that mean we only have one more confirmed death between the issue 6 and issue 8? Is that what just came out, or?
It was issue 9, and one of them was a flashback issue. So yeah, 2 issues.
So 2 issues. Okay.
Yeah. 1 death, 2 issues.
Confirmed, right? Because there's a couple in there that are like.
Well, we've had one unconfirmed from that lot, and one that hasn't had nothing more said about it yet.
Yeah, because there's one in that first 6 issue that's kind of like, so is he?
Yeah.
And then there's another where it's like, well,
what
maybe.
Yeah,
there's 2 that are kind of really suspect to me.
Well, one has been confirmed as still alive.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, as okay. And then the other one they haven't said anything more about yet.
So
but
maybe...
they have followed up on the repercussions
okay, yeah, because one of the we're really talking about something and not talking about anything at all.
Yeah.
Because one of those characters, it would seem like there was going to be some immediate repercussions, and then you go, oh, we're not going to really, we're going to try to play that off. Okay, neat. So awesome. Well, yeah, I read it, and I do have to say that I can confirm what you said up to issue 6, which is sort of like you kind of are almost mad at yourself that you really actually like it as much as you do.
It still finds its way toward the back of my stack whenever I get it, because it's like, Avengers Arena.
Wait a minute. Did you say one more? Because there's 3 deaths up to issue 6. Are you forgetting about Redbird or whatever?
Well, you didn't even remember her name, so yes.
I didn't. That's why I said. That's why I was like the Redbird girl.
Count. That really doesn't count.
It was so. That was such a left field.
Yeah, it's like it's okay to actually kill that character for comedy because there was not one human being who cared.
Yeah, that was.
There might have been some birds that cared.
Maybe. I mean, that character didn't even have a line, as best I could tell.
Yeah, I don't know if that character was... I mean, I know Red Raven was an old wartime character, but that's not him. So that's a new Red Raven, but I don't know if it was a pre-existing character or not.
Yeah, that was awesome. Woof! Oh, did I forget about the ceiling?
Splat.
So, anyway, it's very good. You ought to check it out. Just, at least that first issue, the trade came out this week, along with Spider-Man. And
Spider-Man?
I want to read it, but I ended up picking up the Joe Quesada Iron Man instead.
Ooh, that was probably not the best choice.
My shop heavily recommended it, so...
I enjoyed the mask in the Iron Man quite a lot. In fact, I fucking loved the mask in the Iron Man whenever I read it originally. I reread it and I was like, yeah. But the other stuff that's in there that comes immediately after it is eye-gougingly terrible.
So, yeah, I mean, this is the sentient armor and everything.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the one major hole in that story was quickly retconned a little later in a story that's not included in that trade because it was by a different writer, but it was necessary. Which was, of course, that the armor came to life because of Y2K.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
well, wait a minute. Didn't they? I thought that they didn't they re-retcon that later and say it was Ultron?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
They did. Yeah, it was a different writer a little later did that. Yeah, but that's what I mean.
The original was because of Y2. The original
Yes.
was because of Y2K, and then they retconned it into Ultron. Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, because duh. I mean, it was actually published in January 2000, so history had not yet proven that to be a dumb idea.
Yeah, and it seems really stupid now, doesn't it? I mean, it's like,
remember Y2K?
I do. I was I was in the hospital at the time, so I was slightly paranoid. You know, as I'm looking at the machines I'm dependent on to survive, and like, it would suck if they went out. So, we are recording this show on Mother's Day, so I guess we'll say
I'm not.
Happy Mother. Yes, well,
They already
in America,
had theirs 2 months
so
ago.
We had
whatever.
ours in March.
I
So
don't
stop
know.
filling my Twitter with these things that briefly fill me with dread.
I don't even post on it. I mean, I'll be on it. I won't get on my soapbox about it, but whatever. Anyway.
You, America.
Yeah.
Just have it on a normal day like everybody else and stop trying to be different, okay? You're not a snowflake. Just get in step with the
Yeah, I
rest
know.
of the-
Well, the thing is, in March we had to celebrate St. Patrick's Day because we do a better job than you Irish, apparently, at that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and see, Easter's usually in April, so that means we had to have a holiday for May. So,
I love that, our St. Patrick's Day where we drink green beer, of which they have none in Ireland, and we eat corned beef, which they have none of in Ireland. And that's the way that we celebrate St.
are
Patrick's
you saying there's that one bit of corned beef cabbage in Ireland? I find that hard to believe.
I don't know. You take it too far, America. You take it too far.
Yeah, there's no corned beef. It's a Jewish thing. I'm sorry.
But I forgot we have Cinco de Mayo in May as well, which is to me is like
There you
the
go.
craziest holiday. So we're celebrating Mexico's independence.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo is great until you get to the next day. And then you get the problem that I had, which is like, I went to work on Monday, and it's like, I don't know, about 11 o'clock, and I gotta take a piss, so I go in the bathroom, and it smells like Revenge of Cinco de Mayo. Like, oh, God. People drank like 15 margaritas and ate beans all day. Like, oh Jesus. Or cheap Mexican beer, It's like, nah. Anyway, we came here to talk about comics. So,
I'm going to talk about holidays.
not holidays,
I
apparently.
can talk about poop some more.
Believe me, I could talk about poop a lot.
Oh, no.
Just listen to Superhero Time. So what news have we then this week?
News.
Apparently, JD's bowels are clean. News.
Sure.
What happens news-wise? Okay, news-wise, it has been confirmed, this was rumored before, and it has been confirmed as happening now, that yes, Disney are, in fact, producing an animated movie based on Big Hero 6.
Yeah, I heard about that this week. So, refresh me on what Big Hero 6 is?
It's a Japanese teenage super team. Simple as.
Oh.
There's not much more to the concept than that. It's like, what if all superheroes ever didn't live in America?
Well, the thing is, Disney like to change a lot of things around, so who knows?
I mean,
it might not be Japan. It might be Thailand instead.
No, according to the synopsis, it's set in the fast-paced, high-tech city of San Francisco. So I don't know what they're doing.
So it's like a San Francisco of the future run by that's taken over by Japan. Awesome. That didn't happen in anime. that didn't happen in like any kind of science fiction ever, except all of it.
But it's very marketable as a concept. Big Hero 6. It's about your POV character is a young robotics genius and he's got a robot, and he teams up with a group of crime
Wait. Something Japanese and robots? You don't say.
Exactly.
That was one thing I think that needs to be done.
Wow.
It'll play well on both sides of the Pacific, I think.
Yeah,
if it's good. We'll see how it goes. But I've not read the original Big Hero 6, which I believe was by Joe Kelly, I think, maybe?
somebody like that.
But I have had the misfortune of reading Chris Claremont's Big Hero 6 miniseries not too very long ago, which was not bad for the first 4 issues, and then the 5th issue turned the series into something completely different, didn't resolve any of the mysteries that the previous 4 issues had set up, and then just stopped.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's
lovely. Ugh.
Who did create Big Hero 6? The other guy, that's right. Yeah, the guys who created Big Hero 6 were Steve Siegel and Duncan Rouleau. Joe Casey and Joe Kelly are the other 2 guys who, along with them, make up Man of Action, the creators of Ben 10. That's mixing up my cartoon creators there.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So, and when's that coming out?
That is set for release in November 2014.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's way
quick.
out there. For animated, that seems way out there. I'm just saying.
It's the end of next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like 18 months away. That's
This is incidentally theatrical as well. This is not like direct to DVD.
Oh, they're gonna do a theatrical release.
Yeah. That's the yeah.
Whoa! Wow. Okay. Well, that's a switch.
And it's surprising, it's obviously an obscure choice to make an animated film out of, but frankly, with them doing so well with all their live action project prospects with their main properties, I guess things like this are the thing to do.
What is slated in that Marvel? Isn't there something else slated in that Marvel slot, or is this what's going to take up Marvel's November
this isn't
slot?
part of the 2014 slots are Captain America 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
That's our 2 cinematic universe entries for
I
next
thought
year.
they usually had 3 a year. What was I think they had 3 a year?
I do know.
Yeah. So what? But we don't. Do we know which is which? Is Guardians in November and then?
No,
Cap
I don't think they're split up like that next year. It's because we've got Iron Man, here now in April, and Thor in October this year. But I believe Guardians and Cap are much closer together next year. Like Guardians is early summer, Cap is late summer.
Well, that'll probably play better though.
I would have thought so, to be honest. I mean, October sounds like a very odd time to release Thor, but
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll be interesting. That's a good time for an animated film, though. I mean,
yeah.
So
Fucking probably, if Disney's releasing it, though, I bet it doesn't come out in the UK until bloody Valentine's Day.
Oh, boo-hoo! Boo-hoo!
Back at Ralph. Yes, boo-hoo!
Boo-hoo!
Yeah, boo-hoo! Oh, I'm sorry I got friggin' Iron Man a week before you.
And Star Trek.
And Star Trek, yeah, which was awesome, by the way. And shut up right now or I'll blow all the spoilers, bitch.
What spoilers?
Oh, there are so many.
Are there spoilers? Yeah, okay.
Bad spoilers.
I loved it. I loved your entry.
So will you watch it?
I love your entry about it being homoerotic. I'm like, you haven't watched much Star Trek, have you?
I don't know, guy. This is pretty gay.
I don't know, man. There's a lot out there.
I know, but I mean, basically, Kirk and Spock are just having a tiff for the entire length of the film.
Again, it's gonna.
I don't know. It was certainly pretty gay, and unsurprisingly, like Benedict Cumberbatch and Kirk do everything but hate fuck one another.
Damn. That's unfortunate. But okay. So what else do we got? So Hero 6.
Otherwise, well, what really is going on? Just no major announcements. Little snatches here and there. Silver Surfer will be turning up in Daredevil later this year. Superior Spider-Man's getting a new costume in a few months' time.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at the new Superior.
I'm sure it'll just be another case of a situational costume from Horizon Labs, like previous ones. So, all tits can be cammed there.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm even looking at this costume, and it doesn't. I mean, it's not a very good look at it, to be honest. I mean, even at that, it's got a little bit darker, and there is going to be the Scarlet Spider team up, though. So
yes, that's happening. He face to face with the man that murdered him.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes. If anybody plays it like that.
Yeah.
DC have announced that they will be sending off Batman Incorporated with a one-shot special after Morrison's final issue in July. Though Morrison is not writing any of the one-shot, and Dan Didio will be doing a Bat-Cow story in it. So,
well,
nice.
Sure, that'll be worth reading.
That'll be fantastic.
Yeah. But something that will, something about which opinion will be much more definite is DC's other major announcement for this week, which was DC Universe versus Masters of the Universe. Yeah, that's happening.
What the actual hell?
I missed that. What?
DC Universe versus Masters of the Universe.
Oh God!
What? Wait. I think I misunderstood.
Yeah.
DC versus Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing people were joking about happening because it happened back in the 80s, whenever DC started it. And they have been universally terrible and haven't. I mean, my reaction is less hilarious amusement, but there is an element of that.
Sure.
And more legitimate mystification as to why they keep doing it in the face of the evidence that nobody gives a shit.
Who would want this?
This is what I'm saying.
No one.
Yeah.
No one wants this.
No one wants Masters of the Universe, let alone something else to involve with.
I mean, yeah, and they've given He-Man pants.
Yeah.
Not that I am particularly. I mean, it's like even He-Man gets pants in the New 52.
God, it's just.
I mean, I don't know if it's a mini-series or a one-shot because, frankly, I couldn't read the screen. It all just... I had to believe that I was dreaming, and, small words started swirling and swimming around. I ability to comprehend language. So I didn't bother reading far enough to see if it was a mini-series or not. But, oh my God.
It's one of those things where, you start pinching yourself in hopes that you will wake up. God.
That sounds
Giffen
absolutely
must
horrible.
have something better to be doing.
Oh, poor guy, man. It's like...
I
don't know, maybe
it's going on with DC lately. I mean, their choices lately scare me.
Yeah, well...
Masters of the Universe is the one property that IDW don't have.
I made this rant, actually, I think, on RFC, which was that, part of the problem here at DC is that DC wanted to be competitive with Marvel, and so they went out and got guys from Marvel. The problem is they got the guys that screwed up Marvel, and now they're screwing up DC, and DC, I'm sure that, Warner Brothers has got to be like, why isn't it doing well? We hired Marvel guys. It's like...
We didn't talk about this last week because we don't often talk about news that's going on in the blogosphere, but it's not good times. I mean, just in the last week or two, DC blacklisted the website The Outhouse because they talked about DC like we're talking about DC right now.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah. They blacklisted them from questionnaires or anything like that. Too many parodies, and they've actually, and you guys know the editorials that Joe Quesada used to do on CBR, Cup of Joe, which were then came. I can't remember what they actually call them now, but they do them with Axel Alonso now that he's editor in chief. They started him up
I think
for
it's
DC.
Axel in Charge, I think.
Axel in Charge, that's the one. Well, they started him up for DC. Again, I forget what they were called, but it was with Bob Harris and Bobby Chase. And they've stopped doing those now as well.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there are many questions that people will ask that can't be answered, which is true of the Marvel thing as well. But it's like, it's somewhere between burying your head in the sand and picking up your ball and going home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or both, possibly.
It's probably both. I mean, it seems like both. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
When you're making so many choices that are just confusing the heck out of people, and you consistently across the board, they are continuing to, steadily lose readers book by book, I mean, I really, like I said, I haven't looked at the actual numbers, and maybe you have. I mean, you do them, but it would just seem like books are just in decline. Like everything from the beginning of the New 52 on, it would just seem like a lot of those books are in decline.
Comics are constantly in decline forever. Sales never go up. Sales don't go up as a rule. You get the odd exception.
Yeah.
And Batman is still a top 3 book nearly universally.
Sure.
Because
people are cows.
And yeah. I mean, well, speaking of news, wow. Last month, right, Batman was the number 1 book. And you know what the number 2 book, what Marvel's top-selling book for last month was? Thanos Rising, number 1.
Oh, God.
Well, I think a lot of people are wanting to know who Thanos is after Avengers.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can see the rationale in the mind of the consumer.
Yeah.
It's just that it amazes me that with the book not having been pushed by Marvel in any kind of big, massive, trumpeting sort of way,
yeah,
or promoted with big, mad variant crossover levels or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed and frankly quite impressed because I thought it was a decent book.
Yeah.
It's nice to see a book make it like that with sometimes.
But that's without even trying, you know what I mean? It's like Marvel is putting out books that are doing really well without even trying. And DC,
then the one book that DC gets to number 1 is the one that basically nobody is ripping on.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what exactly was behind, but I'm sure Justice League was not far behind it, and that's not a book that people don't rip on,
Right. And, like I said, I have a little bit of hope for the movement, but some of these books are having strong starts and then stalling out. Yeah.
That's true. I could see, I think we said it last week with the movement, I could see it as a book that basically does everything right, gets good critical response, although the response to the first issue has been mixed, and just through no fault of its own, just doesn't really make it.
Yeah.
Which is an unfortunate, probably just reflection of the fact that as much as many people shout out, oh, why are you just doing this? Pardon me, why are you just doing this over again? Why can't we have something new? Whenever something new actually gets served up, people don't buy it, but we haven't seen the sales, obviously. We'll see how the movement and the Green Team do.
It is amazing to me how much the New 52, the concept of the New 52, is hindering creativity. I mean, that seems to be the case. It's like it has really, in a situation in which the idea was to be a blank slate, they've now created the situation where it seems to be difficult to get anything going, to get any kind of traction.
Do you think that they could revert back to before 52? Do you think it's too late for that?
I think it's too late.
I don't know. I mean, DC don't... I don't know, it's hard to know. Maybe in 10 or 15 years, whenever they have the next Crisis event and they revert in all but name the way they've done with so many of their Crisis events in the past. But it's hard. It's like you say, I think it's too late without them without it looking like them holding their hands up and going, yes, all right, failure, we give up.
Well, and that doesn't seem very likely because, I get to use my background. Think about cognitive dissonance and the way, some of that works. It's like they're not going to do that. Like when people are in that position, they're just not going to admit failure. They are more likely to continue to power on
Certainly
you
not
know,
Dan Didio.
and double down. Yeah, and I think that's exactly the point. Dan Didio is not the kind of guy that is going to say, you know what, this just really isn't working. Let's try something different.
This is the guy who considered Countdown to be 52 done right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, I mean, DC, ultimately, you know, it's like, say whatever all you will about the way editors-in-chief seem to attract a lot of ire in this modern era of comics. Although, frankly, you don't really see Axel Alonso getting the finger pointed at him and accused of things in nearly the way Joe Quesada did. But Joe Quesada prevailed over a period of massive change at Marvel. And he really pulled that company up out of bankruptcy, frankly.
Well,
and he presided over a period where so much stuff was thrown against the wall to see if it stuck. And many changes in format and story structure that I was not a fan of. But the company's come out stronger for it. And unfortunately, that's not the case with Didio and DC right now.
No.
I mean, I can't. There is no end to this slide that they're on right now that I can see where things shoot up and become better than they were. They will peter out, and something is going to have to change in the editorial room at DC.
Well,
to stop this from
how ridiculous? How ridiculous is it that we are 21 issues into the quote-unquote New 52, and we still have number 1 issues coming out saying New 52? At what point does it not?
They all say New 52.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like everything said. You know, when does it stop? You know, like when. I think the difference, and I totally get like the angst and anger. It's like, yeah, you're right. Joe Quesada threw a lot of stuff against the wall, but they were at least willing to try stuff in small increments. It's not like they threw out the entire. They didn't throw out the entirety of the Marvel universe and try to start over. They just made small changes, and that's much easier to make adjustments and fix what doesn't work. But DC has thrown out everything and tried to start over. And, you know, and yeah, okay, I get it. That's in line with the way that they do, you know, Crisis and stuff, but my God. I mean, where does it go? How do you fix it? How do you make adjustments? Where does it end? You know, there's just it's maddening. It really is just maddening.
DC does do some things right, and it's mostly their direct-to-DVD. You know? They don't do the movies well. The comics are, but you know, most of their direct-to-DVD movies are fairly.
Animation was for the longest time the area where DC could always consistently say they were beating Marvel. Now that wasn't true for a brief period, when after the DC animated universe ended, and now don't explode when I say this sentence because there's a modifier at the end of it, but. All DC were serving up animation-wise was Brave and the Bold. Which is not to say that Brave and the Bold was bad. Brave and the Bold was brilliant. It was fantastic. I loved it. But it's all they were doing. Whereas Marvel, in very quick succession, rattled off Spectacular Spider-Man, Wolverine and the X-Men, Iron Man Armored Adventures, Avengers Mightiest Heroes. Mm-hmm. You know, they were kicking out some very good animated projects. Superhero Squad, even, they threw it. Well, and there's something else I know I'm forgetting, but I can't remember what it is. And it really was the direct-to-DVD area where DC was succeeding, and Marvel's never really caught up there, and their direct-to-DVD projects have kind of fizzled out. Now, what was the last one? Was it Thor?
Yeah, the Thor, I believe.
Yeah.
Which was,
and that wasn't up to much. And that seemed like it had been produced and held back. Yeah.
Wait,
Planet Hulk was the.
No. Was it Hulk versus Wolverine? Wasn't that near?
That was before.
That was before.
That was.
Before
but I mean, come on, what has DC done since then? You know.
Well, Marvel put out the Green Lantern one. Crap, which one?
No, that was DC.
Oh, what am I saying? That's what I was thinking. DC still. Sorry. When was that? That was good.
Well, no, DC's just had Superman Unbound out, which is thunderously meh.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I've heard.
I haven't watched that yet.
And the one before it was The Elites, which was also...
It was better than Unbound, but... Yeah, no, DC...
Which doesn't make me excited for Unbound, if that's what you're saying, because I didn't think
it was really, really meh.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, and I mean they've got Flashpoint coming up, and that's a story that will probably adapt well into it. In fact, that's probably a case where the film will come off better than the comic did.
True, yeah.
I just because they'll have to put an end on it instead of just allowing things to stop suddenly.
I'm just going to put a loop on where Barry Allen gets hit by lightning and then lays there smoking for a second, and then it just loops back to
See, hopefully they'll figure out a better way to do that. Where instead of just doing it again and it working, there will be something more to it.
Nah, that's fine.
They will hopefully create a resolution to the actual story of the alternate universe instead of just having Barry literally run away from it.
Oh, God.
But yeah, no, even DC's, I mean, I legitimately don't like to rag on the company or anything, but something needs to change over there. You know?
They need some.
I mean,
yeah.
I got a definite chuckle this week. I believe it is the Outhouse who put it up. Go check out Has DC Comics Done Something Stupid This Week.com.
I saw your post on that. It's amazing.
Yes. Which is, it's like one of those countdown tickers.
Kilby was talking about Dark Knight Returns. That was fairly good.
Rises was their single, probably best entry into other media of the last year because Young Justice happened and it's better.
I think for Young Justice.
Yeah, it's like Young Justice. It's like DC suddenly. That was it. Brave and the Bold for nothing but 2 or 3 years. Suddenly DC makes a huge resurgence into televised animation with quality shows like Young Justice and Green Lantern. Oh, okay. It's like, just, you can't even win there, can you guys? I mean, it's like, but then, to be fair, they're still, whatever comes up next is almost guaranteed to still be better than Hulk and the Agents of Smash.
Oh, God.
And Avengers Assemble, both of which premiere at the end of this month.
Oh.
And if Ultimate Spider-Man was the template for their quality.
Well, there you go. Good job, Disney.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kilby was actually referring to Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie. I was thinking of Dark Knight Rises.
Oh. Yeah. I still
Dark Knight Returns was one of those things where it's like, it was, I could certainly watch it, but you should probably leave Frank Miller on the comic page.
Yeah. I don't know.
Year one just about got away with it, but Dark Knight Returns just goes kind of too bonkers far to sustain me. I think the thing about Dark Knight Returns is it's very much 4 stories in a miniseries, or perhaps 3 stories. I guess the first 2 issues kind of make a story together, and then the issues 3 and 4, or the second film, it's really 2 stories. Final fight with the Joker and the showdown with Superman. They don't. It doesn't make a film just because it was a miniseries. It doesn't make a film. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel it flowed like that.
I still haven't been able to get through it.
well,
through reading it.
Reading it.
Yeah, reading it. I had a nice bonding moment with my brother-in-law when we both agreed that we kind of felt it was overrated. That was fun.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's the same as Watchmen. Honestly, it's what it did was massively significant for the time, but is heavily diluted by the fact that everybody came along and proceeded to do it again, over and over and over again for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I think if I would have read it at the time, it would have more resonance for me. It just doesn't. And
the significance of it can never be overstated.
I don't know. I think I'm just meh on Frank Miller too. It just
I think that's a legitimate thing, knowing that he is as crazy of an old bastard as he is.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Alright, so there you go. We rag on DC again. Yay.
Yeah. Once again. Sorry, folks.
You know what?
I mean,
They got rid of my favorite last week, and that just still breaks my heart.
I gotta.
No more Superman Family Adventures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very sad.
So, any other news? Is that it? We ready?
No, that's about it. That's all I can think of.
Good topic. Good discussion, though. That was fun.
Same old discussion.
Yay! Yeah, really. We're just like sitting here begging DC. We actually do like you.
We would like if you could just get better.
If you could just not suck right now, that would be really cool. We legitimately
remember the excitement with the New 52 and the good launches that a lot of books had when DC was the number one comic publisher in America for like 3 months, and the last 20 years of history were being tried, and then everything fell back into place very quickly whenever Marvel looked at the New 52 and went, we need to counteract this, but if we could actually do something that was good. Then Marvel now happened.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, Marvel did. I mean, I never thought of ever reading Deadpool. Because like Deadpool is overexposed, there's so many crossovers, and now it's probably one of my favorite things to read. So I'm like, wow, Marvel.
And not only that, but we're gonna talk about it at the end of the show. So
oh wow,
crazy! When does that happen?
We've said it a million times. Is that the hit to miss ratio of the Marvel Now titles? Is ridiculous. Even now, 5 months in at this stage. These things are really keeping up their momentum in a way that lots and lots of New 52 titles really failed to do. Yeah. Because for the most part, and this really is the key distinction, I'm sure we've said it before, I know I say these things at work so often, I forget if we've said them on the show before, but it really is because the really good titles at DC and the really good titles at Marvel share one thing in common, which is that they're under the control of their writers.
Yeah.
Their writers are writing the stories they want to write. And that is the vast majority. In fact, I mean, I don't think there are really any books coming out of Marvel where there's any real sign of evident editorial interference or anything. No books.
No heavy-handed editorial. Yep.
Whereas over at DC, it's basically Jeff Lemire's Animal Man, the books by Johns, and Snyder's Batman, and then all the other ones. The writers have finished their runs and gone off.
Yep. And
everything else legitimately feels like it is. Being produced, by committee.
Yeah. Yep. It's rough, man.
Less so the Bat books, to be fair. The Bat books don't suffer from it too much. Although suddenly everybody had to object to Damian being dead.
Brian's yelling at you in the chat.
Why? What did I do?
Dark Knight Returns is the best thing ever, damn you.
Brian, shut up. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
I felt that love right here.
It's just
as it chokes me in the throat.
You know what? I'm just telling you, man. I feel like it's overrated. It's not my thing. If you love it, that's fantastic. But it's not my thing. It's not my thing. That's all I'm saying. All right. So, yep. So let's talk about some Marvel now, since this is apparently an all Marvel. Now that we've dug on DC, we're going to do an all Marvel now.
I can't, well, that's just how it happened to me.
Yeah, it totally is. It was very organic. We could have talked about Batman, except even Batman was a little meh. So.
It had some good points to it, but it was just way too convenient.
Yeah. So, all right.
I'm thinking Bruce Wayne is the luckiest man on the planet.
He's just the whole book. I mean, the only thing that is exciting is like, oh, this is Batman Beyond armor. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
So, Nicole, your turn.
All right. I'm going to talk about a comic that I don't think a lot of people are reading, but I think you should. It's Alpha, big time. It's the one that was a spin-off of Amazing Spider-Man before...
It's the one that we all went, oh, it's not Slott? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's still a really good story, because in this issue, you still see him struggling to go to school, struggling to get the attention of a girl that he likes, which he thought that she liked him, blah, blah, blah. So you've got all these teenage angst, but he also has to have these worries about being a superhero, and you're just like, this poor kid. What more can he go through? I mean, at the beginning, he's going up against a villain called the Miller, who made this hammer very similar to Thor's, but it transmutes matter. And of course, he's not the most brilliant of kids. He's like, I don't even know what that means. How am I supposed to fight something if I don't even know what it means?
Oh my god.
I mean, he even tries to stop the fight, says, okay, wait. What does that mean? That's pretty funny. I mean, I can see where a teenage kid could be like, what am I supposed to do? So, But lo and behold, he has a friend come down to help him, and it is Thor. So Thor comes down, but unfortunately, he doesn't have the best of luck. He gets struck by Thor's lightning. And he's like, whoa. Whoa. But one of the funniest things is, because he got struck by lightning, he returns to school because he's trying to be a responsible kid, and he gets suspended because the principal thinks he's smoking on. He's like, not smoking, but I did get smoked.
Oh my god.
So he has to go to detention because it's just like these cute little things that you have to deal with. But the ending is, it's like, okay, here you go. Here's the battle. They have a third bad guy entity are coming in, and it's like this mobster, and they've taken pretty much his family hostage. And also, this other villain has taken a hospital pretty much hostage. So now he has to choose between saving the 400 people at the hospital or saving the 2 people that he loves more than anything in the world. So, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what's he gonna choose? What's he gonna do? You know, and just, yeah, it's a really good story. There's a lot of fun things. There's, you know, some seriousness in. There's, like I said, the whole thing with tension because he's been set on fire. I really enjoy this, and this is issue number 4, and it looks like this story is part 4 or 5. So the story is going to end next month. So we'll see who he chooses. Who will his family die, or will all the people at the hospital? Yeah, this and that's only up to Alpha to. And of course, everyone still hates him because when Peter Parker was doing his experiment, he had all these powers, and he pretty much got a little arrogant and kind of destroyed a lot of things. So people remember that guy, but they don't remember the good things that he's starting to do. They just remember the troublemaker from when he first got his powers. I feel sorry for the kid. But yeah, I really recommend this. It has that same kind of feel as Amazing Spider-Man. You know, you're rooting for him, but you kind of enjoy seeing the bad guys as well. So, and of course, you got a little bit of Thor action in this one too. So.
Nice.
Can't go wrong with that. Yeah, so I really recommend this series. Like I said, it's the last issue is coming out next month, so you could probably pick it up in trade soon. Sweet. I think this would read really well in trade. Really well.
I had no interest at all in Alpha. My basic approach to it was no slot, no sale. But and I just didn't pay any heed to it at all. And then I took a glance at issue 2, I think, and I gave it a leaf through it, and I was like, hey, it's actually pretty good.
It is really well written, and like I said, it's been a long time since I've been a teenager, but I can remember going through the same things that he did. He's like, okay, I've got to keep my family life together. I've got to keep my school life together. But unfortunately, he's got this other secret life that we can't comprehend, but we want to root for. It's just like, okay. And this is the first issue where he hasn't had the Peter Parker or Doc Ock influence. So you just see him in this issue. But when he's with Doc Ock, it's really cool. So it'll be interesting to see how they rewrite him in now that the whole reveal with the last issue is Superior. So because he's still working at Horizon Labs, you know, getting his one power at a time.
Oh yeah.
So so it's like I said, I really enjoy this. I wish more people would take the chance and read it. So.
Yeah, I might pick up the trade of it when it comes out because I was legitimately surprised at how much I don't remember much about it because I kind of only speed read it at the time. It was 2 months ago, but I remember thinking, "Hey, wait, now hold on. There's interesting stuff going on." I don't remember what the stuff was. I basically didn't commit it to memory because I was like, "Oh, I should go back and read this all properly." So I've made myself forget what I read, but I remember coming away from it and going, "That seems surprisingly worthwhile." No, I mean, if I remember correctly, it is selling bupkis. Like, it is right down there at the very bottom of the Marvel.
I don't know why it's so...
okay. Well, no, come on. You don't know why. I mean, That was an actively odd choice for a miniseries at a time when Marvel is publishing next to no miniseries. Yeah. That was an actively odd choice for a miniseries, but it's one of those things where it just shows you quality slips in when you're least expecting it.
I really think this is going to read really like. Okay, well, I'll give you a little hint. The guy who's holding the hospital hostage, he saved him, and he was just a bum on the street. But things went wrong, and now he's holding the place hostage. So he's taking in that like, okay, this is my fault. This is happening at the hospital because I saved this guy. If I didn't save this guy, this would
It's like the inverse of the heater.
So, like I said, in trade, this is going to read very well, and I probably will pick it up in trade because I'm enjoying it so much. So,
now I have heard plenty of good things about the writer too. Fialkov, he was doing iVampire for DC, and I never heard anything but good things about iVampire, even though
I never got into iVampire. So.
It has ceased to be. It is an X comic at this stage, but I always heard pretty much universally good things about it, and you should probably pay more attention when I see his name appear on things, because
like I said, he's impressed me with his writing in this. Go pick it up, people.
Sweet. Okay. So I have forbade Triplette from talking about Uncanny because I desperately wanted to catch up on what was going on.
Uncanny what, JD? Uncanny. No, I'm not being
I'm
funny.
Sorry.
You're
right.
3 books with Uncanny.
You are absolutely right. I'm saying Uncanny Avengers is what I have been reading because I don't read X books mostly. And I'll be damned if I am glad that I didn't do that and that I made him not, because I caught up finally last week and going into this week. It'd be crazy and amazing and it's epic and it's just I don't know how to describe it other than just like you don't even know what you're reading. It's just like, this is not that you don't. Okay, well it's really good. Anyway, so what we talk about. This current story is all over the place. We started out with the whole Red Skull takes Charles's brain and puts it into his own brain, and then that's like been completely left behind. Like they're still like, yeah, that's still out there, but we're kind of dealing with this thing right now. And like there was one whole issue that basically dealt with backstory to this, where like Apocalypse showed up and fought Thor, and Thor was pissed that his axe, because this is before he had Mjolnir, that he couldn't fight Apocalypse. So he went to his dad, and his dad said, no. he was like, I need my axe made awesome so that I can kill this Apocalypse dude. And Odin's like, no. No, it's that celestial armor. You don't get to cut that. And he's like, but I wanna! And he's like, and Odin's like, no. And Loki comes...
That's old Roy Thomas continuity, then.
Yeah, but it's here now, so... So Loki's like, hey, I think we can find an enchantment for that. And they go find a scroll, and they... Nice. And they find a way to make his axe cut through celestial armor. Except it turns out it wasn't Loki. It was... why can't I remember his name right now? Yeah.
Because
that's what happens to me? Time traveling? Evil guy?
Just gonna make more of a disparaging comment about the comic.
Blueface? What do you mean? Because it's Who is
it, JD?
God, you know how I get. Like, I just forget a name when I'm, like, right there. That sounds stupid.
But who is he?
I know who he is. I just can't remember his name. Why
it's not Loki.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
Mirror?
I want to say there's an M in it.
Is it a Thor character?
No.
Come on,
he's an Avengers enemy.
They're on Kang?
Yeah! Kang.
4 letters, JD.
I know. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate the help on that. Anyway, so it turns out it's not Loki, it's Kang. Because Kang needs the axe. Because he needs to kill a Celestial in the future. So he does all of this to be able to take the axe in the future from Baron Mordo's tomb, where the axe eventually ends up, and uses it then to kill a Celestial, and then all hell breaks loose. So, as we get into this issue, the Sword space station has been exploded. And, like, the things about this I love is that how many times do you get, like, third-person narrated text? Like, that almost doesn't happen anymore. It's either, like, first person or, it's someone, thinking back and telling a story. But we have true, like, third person here, where it's like Thor is trying to stop the space station from destroying parts of the Earth. And it's like Thor pauses, takes a breath. He must temper his attack on the mile-wide wreckage now hurtling towards the Earth. It's just like, epic. It just has that, like, epic feel, and, these wonderful, not even full-page panels, which is what I think I really like, that it's not taking up a whole page for what a lot of other writer-artist teams would take up a whole page for. I mean, there's, like, a huge explosion where Sunfire, like, blows up part of the space station, and it just takes up, it's a 2-page, but it's just the top panel. So you get, like, the nice, wide explosion effect, but it doesn't take up 2 pages to do it. And, and you still have, story and things going on. You find out Sunfire is kind of a self-absorbed prick. I don't know much about it.
That's Sunfire.
But yeah, he's a total self-absorbed asshole. So that's kind of fun. And they kind of have it like there's a whole part in here where it's like Captain America lands in Somalia. So he's like trying to prevent an international incident while beating the hell out of Somalis. Meanwhile, there's like a message that's been left for him. The Apocalypse twins, which apparently are Archangel's kids, are wreaking havoc. They go up to the Apocalypse.
I got nothing.
Yeah, totally right. They go up to like the Apocalypse City that's up in like Antarctica or something. I think is where that is. And like there's a bunch of former mutants there that are all depowered. And so they're like, oh, we're so sorry. We'll help you. And woof, kills them all. Just the one of them has the power to like alter time, and so he just like speeds up time to where they're all like dust in the future. It's amazing. Yeah. But the art in this is really fantastic. I mean, there's just some really great art, outside of, just the way Remender is writing this whole thing.
Daniel Acuna is on the art for this now, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. And the art in this issue
will help the book along.
Oh, yeah. This issue is amazing. And in fact, the end of this issue, it looks like everybody's dead. So, that's obviously not the case, but it would seem. And it does seem to be that there's sort of this rivalry between Kang and the Apocalypse twins, where they're like sort of locked in this weird time battle with each other. I mean, it's just like this book continues to be exactly what I said it was, where it was just like wacky and pulling from all kinds of weird Marvel history and epic in the same tone. Like it's, it still has this like vibrato to it almost, where it's just so robust. It's really out there. It's really, the chest is puffed out and it's really just out there. And I don't know why. I am a total sucker for it. I love it. So
I just can't get the feel of it at all.
That's
okay. It's not like me for when it comes to stuff that I think it's because it's wacky without being funny.
Yeah, and that is the thing. It is not funny. Like I am not reading it laughing. Yeah. But it's not high
concept either. It's not like Hickman or Morrison
style.
No. It's just weird. It just sort of doesn't do it for me.
It is weird. I will totally give it that. But like I said, it may not be for everybody, but man, I'm loving it. Like, I am totally digging it. I think Triplette is too. I think Triplette likes it too. So
I think perhaps my thing with it is, and this is something that I'll be bringing up when I talk about my book, is that I don't know what it's for. And Marvel now has made such a good case for differentiating the the different Avengers books, using all the old titles still, but actually giving them individualized purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond this very vague notion of this being like the pro-mutant Avengers, like, I don't know what it's for. You know, this weird post-AVX, oh, world are mutants, is just not being felt outside of Bendis' 2X books. And
it almost seems like it's the big, like, this is, like, again, like with that vibrato, but it's the taking on the big weird concepts within the Marvel Universe, like Apocalypse, or like all the weird stuff Red Skull does, you know, that are, you know, considered to be either Avenger villains or X-Men villains or whatever, where, you know, again, it's like your first arc is Red Skull, which is, you know, very much considered to be like a Captain America Avengers enemy, you know, using using part of Charles's brain. Now you have this sort of Apocalypse story arc with Kang underneath it. So again, it's like you have these combined elements of some of the big and weird things that go on within both the Avengers continuity and the X-Men continuity, and sort of mashed together in these very strange and yet bold ways. You know, where you can get these stories where Thor is teaming up with Sunfire, or, you know, just like Avengers teaming up with traditional Avengers characters teaming up with characters that are traditionally thought of as X-Men, but they're on the same team. It's not a team up, they're on the same team. Just strange. I love it. It's okay. I'm not going to sit here and say you have to like it. I'm just explaining why I like it. So, anyway, there you go.
Great job.
Thank you so much. All right, Chris McFeely, what do you have, sir?
Well, sticking with the Avengers theme, I'm talking about Avengers number 11 this week.
Woo! Love this cover.
Yeah.
I gotta go look at this cover, because JD's just talking about it over
Oh my god,
again.
it's totally up my alley. It is.
You better look it up.
You just might as well look it up. That doesn't justice.
The Avengers are off to Japan. And this is a great one, because it's broadly a done-in-one. It's not quite, but it basically is. In which the Avengers learn that AIM is supposed to be opening bids to sell a mysterious new prototype that they've called the S7. And the Avengers are there to find out what the deal is. So it's about Captain Marvel, Spider-Woman, Black Widow, Sunfire, Sunspot, Cannonball, and Shang-Chi going undercover in a casino.
I do like this cover. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's a casino in Japan, so the cover itself really has nothing to do with the actual content of the comic, aside from the fact that it's the 6 characters that are in the issue done up as various tropes of anime.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it's just a tremendously fun issue. Like, it's equal parts comedy, spy drama, chopsocky, action, tension. It's really got everything going on for it. I mean, it breaks down into the running parallel plot lines of the different Avengers going off to their different missions, where Captain Marvel plays the lead AIM scientist at a poker table. Cannonball and Sunspot watch the secondary AIM representatives there for the selling at the craps table. Black Widow and Spider-Woman stake out the other buyers, and Shang-Chi goes and tries to find out what the deal is and gets into a ninja battle.
And it's all amazing.
I know. I mean, to be fair, like, probably it's odd because of the way that the comic, perhaps not the comic, but, well, the thrust of the story and the cover certainly seems to sell Shang-Chi as the central part of the issue, and he is the one at the end who comes away with the information that will lead into the next part of the story. So it's not a done-in-one, and then it is setting up something else, but the adventure in the casino is all done in the span of 22 pages.
Yeah.
But he's easily the dullest part of the issue.
Yeah.
Where, Mike Deodato was on the art for this one, and he just draws Bruce Lee. There's no apology for it.
Yeah,
he just draws Bruce Lee. And he just delivers a lot of vague Eastern platitudes about being calm in a raging sea and tradition that buttresses the future. And he has a ninja fight.
And there's a Chimera guy.
And he wins him. He discovers that. That's the twist, which we won't spoil. It's the rest of the issue where everything really just comes together. Where Captain Marvel is just being really. I'm like, why was this not the Captain Marvel in the Captain Marvel comic? Why was she not this much fun there?
She was kind of fun to begin with.
Yeah, but she's so. I can't even really describe what she's like in this one. She's very.
Oh, in this, yeah.
No, in this, she's just very. Her balls are hanging out and swinging. You know,
she is totally out there.
Bold in this, she's staring down this guy with his X-ray glasses who's reading her cards and still beating him at the table. You know. Mm-hmm. But the absolute centerpiece of the issue is Cannonball and Sunspot whenever they are really cleaning up at the craps table, and the three AIM guys, they know who they are, and they turn up, and it's three guys in three-piece suits, tuxedos, cummerbunds, whole deal, bow ties, wearing the AIM beekeeper helmets on top of them.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah. Hickman has been having so much fun with AIM. Really, we've followed this story from FF.
Yeah.
With AIM's transformation into a nation state, because this is following up on the fact that they are a semi-covert terror state, as one of them says here. We'd very much like to avoid the appearance of sea. We saw in FF how AIM was reinventing itself, free of MODOK and the Scientist Supreme and all the rest of it, and they've said that they've become their own nation state. And we know the issue itself never makes a point of it because it's all told from the Avengers' point of view, so they don't know what S7 is, and they never find out because it turns out that's not what the issue is even really about.
Right.
But we know, as readers of this comic, that it's whatever they have distilled from the 7th Gene Bomb site. From the Garden's bombardment of Earth. So it's all still tied up together in everything that Hickman's doing. But you wouldn't need to know that to read this issue, which is, this is a really good issue to just pick up and read, because you get character, you really just have the Black Widow there as your your large-scale movie-level familiarity character, who is great in this one as well, because she just advocates killing them all and then just getting drunk and partying. Captain Marvel's listing off her plan, and it says, "It seems overly complicated, doesn't it? There's a lot of moving parts for simple data extraction. Wouldn't it be easier if I seduced him, brought him back here, and pulled his fingernails out one by one until he gives us what we want?"
Oh God, and that is so great, because they're like, well, what about when he starts screaming? We put the sock in his mouth. Yeah, but then how do we get the information out? We take the sock out.
We take the sock out.
Well, what if you start screaming again? We put the sock back in.
Oh my God! Are the two of you really doing this?
But this AIM bit is great.
Yeah, the AIM bit is like they're so like, step outside, Mr. DaCosta, Mr. Guthrie, and then Sunspot's like, come on, guys, we're having fun here. Why do today what we're going to be doing tomorrow and the day after that? Sure, we came ready to dance. Show them some. And it's like Cannonball opens his tuxedo and goes,
boom!
Shows his costume underneath. Are you in that much of a rush to get beat down? And then one of the scientists is like, overconfidence is a hallmark of the intellectually stunted. We're more than prepared to take our chance. Actually, I kind of like the sound of this. I can't remember the last time I had a vacation. Loyalty is its own reward, Travis. Oh, shut up, dog! Daddy wants to party! And they all agree not to fight. They'll just a truce for the evening, and they wind up partying and dancing and everything.
He's like, all right, we gotta hear the two magic words.
Man, I'm missing out on this one. I need a word.
Two magic words. Pretty please?
Nope.
Try
again.
Avengers assemble.
Yeah!
Work for me. Be my personal supervillain double agent. It pays well. I'm rich. Really?
Don't tell him anything! And I demand your Tommy!
Dog! Really, it's just a little bit of everything in one great. I mean, the AIM thing totally steals the show because Hickman's been having a lot of fun with AIM. The Shang-Chi thing, I think, despite being the important plot thrust of it, is probably the dullest one because it's like whenever there's the amount of sparkling funny dialogue going on elsewhere in the comic, or the showdown quote unquote between Miss Captain Marvel, I still think of her as Miss Marvel, between Carol and Deeds, the AIM scientist, and then Shang is just in the middle of it saying things like, "It finds profit in chaos. It globalizes violence. It monetizes death. Chimera's corporate slogan is progress. I am calm in a raging sea. I am the old ways from which we came. I am the dragon." And I'm like, yeah, Shang,
that's great.
That is super, but this chick over here couldn't shoot lasers out of her hands.
Yeah, and then these guys are hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that doesn't engage me much, but there's an awful lot going in here that you honestly can just pick up and read, and I would say you probably want to come back for more. If you came in, and it certainly doesn't hurt that this is the nicest piece of work I've seen from Mike Deodato in quite a while as well. I mean, I normally like Deodato's work anyway, but this is a really nice bit of work.
Yeah, it's nice. It is a great looking issue. It's a good issue just all the way around. Well, maybe other.
I mean, you got to say it when you're talking about Mike Deodato. I mean, Mike Deodato knows how to draw a sexy lady, and there's more than a few of them.
Yeah.
When you have an issue with Carol Danvers, Black Widow, and Miss Marvel in cocktail dresses,
out of costume, yeah.
But then, Shang-Chi is just Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee was no slouch.
Yeah.
When it came to the old physical attractiveness. And he is, doing kung fu shirtless for like 1/3 of the pages in this issue. So there's a little something for everybody in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't checked out Hickman's Avengers and you've maybe been afraid of the high concept science, I mean, certainly I could feel how anybody who maybe picked up issue number 1 of Hickman's Avengers off the back of getting into the Avengers from the films or wanting to get into the Avengers because they heard so much about them and finding cosmic representations of life and death firing origin bombs at the Earth might have after like a 3-page prologue that was all florid dialogue about the past and the future and the creation and the end of everything, I could think maybe that's not quite what I saw in the movie screen. This one I really think that anybody could pick up. You really wouldn't need to know you can just get you get to know the characters that are all fairly well. Their individual personalities are all on show. Shang's perhaps more than most, but they're all in there. Carol Danvers taking no nonsense. Black Widow, just her spy business. Cannonball and Sunspot in their buddy superhero action adventures.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all good all around. One of the best issues of Hickman's Avengers yet, to be honest. It's so different from everything else that's going on, but just real proof this guy can deliver on so many different fronts.
Yep. Totally.
Yep.
Awesome.
And the other thing I was going to say about it is right, this is the sort of story that a year ago you would have found in Secret Avengers.
Yes.
And the living evidence for why that was a dumb thing to do in the first place. Because there's no reason the ordinary Avengers can't do this as well. And did anyway, even when the Secret Avengers existed.
Right.
And more proof of how Marvel now is streamlining and partitioning of the 3 books into, I mean, I say partitioning of the books like New Avengers isn't about the Avengers, Secret Avengers isn't about the Avengers, and Avengers Arena isn't about the Avengers, but they're each about an individualized concept that is unfortunately just having to trade on the Avengers name, whereas before this, they really were redundant books that were tripping over each other conceptually, and this issue is subtle proof of how that was never a good idea in the first place, because one book can do it as well as any other book could.
Yep. Yeah. I had a thought. Anyway. Cool. Very good. All right. So as we continue and finish our tour of Marvel now, we are going to end the show with Deadpool. No,
Who
really.
has probably one of the most awesome covers ever.
Well, It's not as good as that Avengers cover, but it's pretty cool.
No, you gotta understand, I love sharks.
Well,
this
yeah.
is an awesome cover.
I don't know. I saw Jaws. I have a healthy fear of water. And, yeah. So this story has been interesting. This actually, that one-off story that I thought was kind of fun, we talked about a couple weeks ago, turns out to be really important, and it's actually playing in to what's going on in Deadpool right now, because now he's sort of, this demon is offered to release Michael, I guess. That's the point that we're at. Michael's the crazy homeless, not homeless.
Necromancer.
That had raised all of the dead. Who I'm surprised is still hanging around, apparently. As well as Ben Franklin.
Yep. Ben's awesome. I like Ben.
Yeah. And then Agent Preston is basically soul-bound inside of Deadpool. So...
The thing is, with Agent Preston, they've definitely slimmed her down and beautified her for the previous issues.
Not a lot. I mean, somewhat, but they've also got her living in Deadpool's head, too, so, who knows.
I do like that they have her in his costume.
When she's in his head, she's, in his costume. We get this whole, as she's trying to wander around inside his head, and it's amazing. As there's, this whole museum. There's one of, the Thinker, but it's actually Deadpool doing an upper decker. If you don't know what that is, just look it up. And, there's just all kinds of, weird
Andy
art.
Warhol, Marilyn Monroe.
A lot of Andy Warhol in here. Yeah. So, and there's also...
Some crude jokes.
There's also, this section, this guarded off section that she tries to go into and then eventually gets talked out of it. So, that's got to be Chekhov's gun. I mean, hopefully we've got to be coming back to that at some point. Some of the dark Deadpool history. But at the end of the last issue, to kind of talk about where we come up to, at the very end of the issue, so people randomly came up, got out of a van, knocked Deadpool out with a trank, and then, stole some organs. And then left. It's
yeah, that was mad.
What? Okay. It's a little bizarre. And Deadpool's also stolen an ice cream truck, so that's crazy. Anyway,
if you're going to steal a truck, ice cream truck would be the way to go, right?
Hell yeah, even though he's telling Mike, he's like, hey, we have to pay for that.
We stole a truck, but we got to pay for the ice cream.
We got to pay for the ice cream. But Deadpool's basically, this demon's got him on this quest to... They've got a couple simultaneous things they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out where to put Agent Preston, and they're trying to figure out how to save Michael from this demon. Because Michael had made a deal with the demon to get his powers, and the demon wants to collect, and he's offered that if Deadpool will collect on these other people, then he won't kill Michael. But everybody knows that that's a total sham, and everybody's going to end up dead. So, but Deadpool doesn't really know what to do other than just to keep going until something else gets figured out. So it's kind of great. Yeah. But they need to get into this old Ancient One library that just happens to be buried below Riker's. So he has Michael get arrested, and of all the ways...
I love this.
Of all the ways that Deadpool could get Michael to be arrested, he chooses to have him flash some cops.
Because he's wearing a kilt.
Because he's wearing a kilt. Oh, man.
And like any true Scot, he's doing it right,
so
apparently.
He gets tased in the nuts, basically. Arrested. Yeah. So anyway, so that works. Though
I like the picture of him in the shower. He is not amused.
Yeah, and they dust him with whatever. I don't even know what that is.
Is it what not talc powder?
Yeah.
Oh crap! I forgot what the powder.
But
that anti-lice powder.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Anyways, the best part of this is the second part where Deadpool decides to go and collect on the next person, which turns out to be a lifeguard who is chosen to ask for abilities that help him save lives. Now, stop me if you've heard this one. He can breathe underwater, and he can telepathically command marine life.
Wait, what are you saying? Is this a ripoff of Aquaman?
Totally. And I don't think they ever actually say that, but they definitely heavily reference.
Did they ever say his name? I don't think they ever said his name.
No, but they talk. But definitely, Deadpool makes reference several times about how lame that is.
Because he does have a similar look to him too.
A little bit with the long blonde hair and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, but even like the guy like even tries to save. I mean, this is the best part too. Is like Deadpool, like the guy even tries to save Deadpool at one point and pulls him up, and Deadpool still runs him through.
Well, look, I mean, first of all, look at the guy. Look at the guy's uniform. He has an orange lifeguard shirt and green bottoms.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you're just like,
yeah, it's unmistakable. But yeah, but he totally runs the guy through, and then basically lets sharks eat him, and then pulls the leftover bits up on the shore. But I think, like, to a point, like, what did you say about this, Chris? That the difference here is that it's not really.
It's black. It's not comedy. He's killed him in a really awful, horrible way, and it's not funny.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of black shift in tone that distinguished a lot of Joe Kelly's Deadpool from... Well, a lot of writers learned the wrong lesson from Joe Kelly's Deadpool back in the 90s. I mean, Joe Kelly was who put Deadpool on the map, and he did it by making him funny, doing all the pop culture references, and juxtaposing it with some hideously bleak storylines and morbid things in which Deadpool tried to prove that he was better than he himself believed he was, and had the universe shoot him down every single time. I mean, Joe Kelly put Deadpool through absolute living hell in the course of his run, and even the grand culmination of the thing, where Deadpool did convince himself of the personal change that was necessary for him to carry out the event, the inciting event of the whole 2-year story arc Kelly was doing, it just came down to murder again in the end, and. Anytime Deadpool ever killed anybody in Daniel Way's run for the last 8 years, it was just, well, not 8 years, but 5 years, just haha hilarious Bugs Bunny with guns, so whenever this is, I've said it before, this has been some of the best Deadpool since Joe Kelly's run, as far as I'm concerned, and it has mostly dedicated itself to the comedy so far, but the tone of the comedy and the nature of the comedy it's been doing has been evocative of Joe Kelly's Deadpool for me. And to see it going to darker places like this now, like Kelly's Deadpool, is because, I mean, honestly, I was getting a little tired of it. By the end of this, I thought maybe, Zombie Presidents was not a 6-issue story. I think that went on a little too long, and I was getting tired of it. And the 80s issue was funny, but at the same time, a little too evocative of an issue Joe Kelly did, where he sent Spidey back to the 60s. It's kind of the same guy, kind of different decade. But now it's like, oh hey, wait a second now, maybe these guys aren't just aping the style. Maybe they have learned the right lessons from Joe Kelly after all. That's a Deadpool writer that any Deadpool writer should be trying to learn lessons from. So, you can consider my interest renewed.
And I think the ending of this story proves that same point too. You're just like, whoa. You don't want to spoil the ending, but you're just like, whoa, where are we going with this?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of dialogue and back and forth even between Deadpool and the Demon here. Where there's a lot of struggle here, with, for Deadpool, even for a guy that just kills people, there's still a lot of moral dilemma. And and you're right, absolutely. Especially where this ends. It's just like, wow,
Well, the thing is, in these few pages, these 3 pages after he kills the lifeguard, you feel remorse for Deadpool. You're just like, what? He did not want to do this.
No.
And you can tell because he hides his shame by putting the mask back on.
Yeah, that is true, and I think that is an interesting point where Deadpool has gone around maskless in this run, and in particular the second half, more than he has in quite a while. And I think he may be on to something where he does put that mask back on, and maybe that's his way of even hiding his own disgust with himself, maybe. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see in a few issues if he still has the same remorse for future victims. So or if he starts to get used to it. I don't know.
I don't know. Things have gotten very real, though. I will say, like you said, with the end of this issue, things got very, very real.
Even though he has a big plushie of a stuffed banana.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's still there's still those elements of where it's still weird Deadpool, and it's not that that's not the case, but it's still this Deadpool that's very torn because it's also too where he's got somebody riding shotgun too, and that's a whole nother element that we have to this book. So I'm loving it. Like if you got off the Deadpool train because it got too popular and too big and, it was just everywhere.
That's why I never really got into it. I'm like, I was fascinated with Deadpool, but I'm like, where do you start? There you had all the spin-offs, and then you had he was like Wolverine 2.0, he was in everything.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So, and that's why I would say, like, if you want to start, we're only on issue 9. It's not like there's a lot, and there should be first trade coming out soon, shouldn't there?
Yeah, the one with the presidents was awesome. I liked that story.
Get your first trade and go back to that 80s issue and start from there, after that, and get on this, man. This is good stuff. This is really interesting stuff. I like this Deadpool a lot.
I do too.
So, cool. Very good. Well, there you go. I don't know what to tell you. That's a show. that be the show. You got anything exciting next week?
I don't know. I've got kind of a quiet one again next week. So it's a 5-week month.
That's what I was going to say. We are at a 5-week month because of the first, so it's going to be a little drawn out. So
I know there's some stuff, but I can't even remember what. Ultimate Spider-Man is next week. I remember that one for some reason. FF is next week.
Okay. Well,
should be
that's
fun.
Another thing. So when's our next Spider-Man? When's our next Superior?
Probably the week after next, I guess.
So. That'll be exciting. Can't wait to get there. I'm like, Avenging came out this week and was really interesting. I didn't want to talk about it just because we talk about Superior so much, but this issue of Avenging was really interesting. Really good. They actually made a reference, I think, to Secret Avengers. At Secret Avengers, where they're getting mind wiped, right, after they do the missions. Is that right?
That's the Secret Avengers. I haven't followed it really closely past the first issue, but I probably should be.
But they make reference to it because Black Widow and Hawkeye are on the ship, and Hawkeye's about to go in for the mind wipe thing, and apparently at the end of the mission, he decided it would be a great idea to run around naked in the streets, since he wouldn't remember it later. So there's a nice little joke there, but. Awesome.
Yeah, both Deadpool and Spider-Man come out the week of June 11th.
Cool.
In trade.
Oh, okay. Very good then.
Trade.
Excellent.
Yeah.
For the trade. So, get that.
Do it.
Do it. Do it, we say. Okay. Well, that is the show. So, I am JD Church. That's Chris McFeely. That's Nicole Hale.
Yes, I am.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure. I'm not,
who said so?
I'm not totally certain. You should go to the website, fanboyversus.com. You can find all of our past shows. A lot of that stuff's on YouTube, so you can watch them or listen to them. It's your choice. You can also follow us on Twitter at fanboyvs. So if you like stuff throughout the week, tweet it to us. Let us know. We may talk about it on the show even. So that's the thing.
Yeah, tell us what we should be reading.
Exactly. If you like something and we're not talking about it, you let us know. Because maybe we should pick it up. And we just didn't know it. So that's the thing. Yes. And you can also listen to the show live. That is going to be tfradio.net/live. That's 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. GMT if you are on the other side of an ocean. And if you're somewhere else, then, I don't know, figure it out. Because I don't even know what time that is in Australia or Japan. Even though I know people in Australia and Japan now and maybe give that time as well, but I don't. So it's in the middle of the night. I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, they're probably not even awake to listen to it live.
Well, they're 17 hours ahead of me.
I have it on. I keep it on my phone. I now know enough people in Australia and Japan that I keep on the phone. It's actually early in the morning. It's 6:48 in Tokyo right now. So if they're up, they're on the way to work.
In New Zealand, it's 9:48.
Yeah. So see, there you go.
So
whatever time that is, doesn't matter. So anyway. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.